It takes 7 steps to achieve anything you desire. 7 steps. Most people don't fail at the end. They fall apart somewhere in the middle. Let me walk you through the 7 steps. And while I do, keep Steve in mind. Steve wants to build a house, not a fantasy house, a real one. Land, walls, roof. And he must take these 7 steps, beginning from the very first step. Step 1 is desire. Everything starts here. Every achievement begins as a quiet thought, a picture in your mind, a feeling you can't explain. Desire is internal. On its own, it does nothing. Desire only becomes powerful when it meets something else. Desire is not motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Desire stays. If you only feel motivated, you won't last. If you truly desire something, you'll move even when you're tired. Unspoken desire becomes frustration. When you don't admit what you want, even to yourself, it turns into anger, envy, and bitterness. Many people are not angry at others. They're angry at abandoned desires. Steve's desire begins quietly. He walks past houses and imagines his own, a place where his family lives, a place that belongs to him. He doesn't tell many people, but the desire sits inside him, persistent. And once desire is clear, the mind immediately asks one question: is this even possible? That question leads to the next step. Step 2 is belief. This is where most people break. Belief is a private calculation your mind makes about risk, pain, and identity. The moment you desire something, belief steps in and asks hard questions. Do I really have what it takes? Am I smart enough? Do I have the money? Do I have the time? 3 voices appear. The voice of faith says, this is possible. The voice of doubt says, this is not possible. The voice of fear says, this will hurt you. Fear and doubt are twins. They join forces against faith. Belief is formed in that fight, not by facts, but by which voice you trust more. If fear wins, you quit. If doubt wins, you hesitate. You say, I'm not sure. I need more time. Let me think about it. That is not intelligence. That is delay pretending to be wisdom. If faith wins, you move forward. Nothing has happened yet. Everything is still inside you, but your direction is already decided. Belief is the moment you stop asking, can I do this? And start asking, what will it take? That question opens the door to the next step. Steve stands here longer than he should. He counts his savings. He thinks about prices. He imagines debt. Fear says, this could ruin you. Doubt says, people like you don't build houses. Faith says one quiet thing, not now, but someday. Steve chooses to believe someday is enough. And once belief chooses a direction, the next need is obvious: information. Belief without understanding collapses, so learning begins. Step 3 is learning. Once belief wins, learning begins. This is where the dream meets reality. You start asking questions. You search. You watch. You talk to people. And this is where many people collapse, because learning exposes gaps. You see how far you are from where you want to be. You see what you don't have. Learning reveals the cost that desire hides. You discover how it's actually done, how long it takes, how much it costs, who you compete with, what you must sacrifice. Learning opens you to external voices, and that is dangerous. You will meet 3 types of people: negative people who say it's unrealistic, optimists who say you can do anything, realists who say this is hard, here is the work. If you can face it, you can do it. Negative people reactivate fear. Blind optimists inflate fantasy. Only realists help you survive this stage. If you don't quit here, you move forward. Steve learns the truth. Land prices, permits, contractors, time. Some people laugh. Some hype him up with nonsense. One builder sits him down and says, "This will take years, discipline, sacrifice, no shortcuts." Steve listens to that man. Learning gives clarity, but clarity without structure creates anxiety. To move forward, chaos must be organized. That is where planning begins. Step 4 is planning. Many people learn, few people plan. Learning fills your head. Planning gives your feet direction. Without a plan, intelligence leaks. With a plan, even average effort compounds. Big goals overwhelm because they arrive all at once. Planning does one thing. It puts things in order. You stop asking, "How do I achieve this?" You start asking, "What comes first?" That question kills panic. Without a plan, every problem feels personal. With a plan, delays are expected. Obstacles are anticipated. Progress is measured. Planning reveals the real bottleneck: money, skill, time, access, discipline. Unplanned people blame life. Planned people fix constraints. Planning turns vision into daily behavior. Action without planning wastes energy. Planning directs force. A plan gives structure to patience. It turns a long road into small steps. Planning is where intelligence stops talking and starts arranging reality. Steve writes it down. Savings targets, timeline, land first, house later. Now the dream stops floating. It has edges. But planning alone does nothing unless it is obeyed. Structure demands movement. That movement is execution. Step 5 is execution. Execution is where everything becomes real. Up to this point, everything lives in your head or on paper. Desire thinks, belief feels, learning knows, planning organizes, execution moves. Execution does not wait for confidence. Confidence comes after movement. Execution ignores mood. It obeys structure. If it's on the plan, it gets done. Execution is repetition. Doing something once means nothing. Doing it daily changes who you are. Execution gives feedback. Reality responds. What works? What fails? What must change? Execution is boring. That's why it works. Steve starts saving, working extra hours, saying no to things he likes. No applause, no excitement, just progress. But execution does not always go smoothly. Eventually, you meet something called an obstacle or resistance. And once execution meets resistance, a decision must be made. That decision determines whether the journey continues or ends. Step 6 is facing obstacles. This step decides everything. When execution hits resistance, you have 3 options: quit, persist, pivot. Quitting means stopping. Persistence means pushing forward the same way. Pivoting means changing the route, not the destination. Google Maps doesn't cancel your journey when there's a roadblock. It reroutes you. Same destination, different path. Most people quit once they meet obstacles. They say, "I tried, I planned, I acted." Failure sounds intelligent at this stage. Winners persist to pivot. They never stop moving. They keep desiring, believing, learning, planning, executing until they reach the final step. Steve hits problems. Prices rise. A deal falls through. Time stretches. He doesn't quit. He changes the design, chooses a different plot, adjusts the plan, same house, new route. And when persistence lasts long enough, effort finally turns into outcome. That moment is achievement. Step 7 is achievement. Eventually, the work compounds. People clap. The world notices. Success looks sudden. But it wasn't. It was quiet, layered, relentless. The price was paid. The prize was earned. One day, Steve does the grand opening of his house. Not because he was lucky, but because he stayed in the process longer than most people stay comfortable.